Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to be joined again by my friend and business partner, Mr. Michael Vincent. We do these sustainability shows every week, and we also work together on fuel reduction, emissions reduction, and plastics waste reduction with net savings for companies. So it's a win-win.
It is a win-win-win. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win all over the place, right? I mean,
that's right.
If it's sustainability, we're going to be in it somewhere, right?
That's right. Exactly.
I mean, and it's important. The win-win, that's a cliche, right? And a lot of cliches are cliches for a reason. They're true, right? Or they're funny. This is one that happens to be true in what we're doing, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that sustainability can actually also be a sound economic business practice, a financially sound initiative for your company. There are ways to do this that actually improves your efficiency, improves your sustainability from both aspects, because we've bastardized the meaning of sustainability and now it means environmental, right? But it doesn't mean that at all. If you look at the definition of it, right? Your sustainability in your supply chain, et cetera, can produce sustainability in the renewables and climate change and GHG emissions reductions and save you money all at the same time. The principles mesh, and that's what we're proving out, right, Andy?
It is, absolutely. We've been doing these pilot projects with fleets all over the country and measuring things, and we have an average 26.73% mile per gallon gain on trucks.
Wow.
Big rig trucks. And we have a money back guarantee at Trucking Tower. Test 3 trucks, money back guarantee of at least 10% fuel economy improvement. And that gets you a net savings. But we're averaging 26% plus.
So. And you know what? I've talked to a couple people about that, Andy, and then they go, well, yeah, because, it's, your average is 20, so you're guaranteeing at least 10. And I said, yeah, well, okay. What's wrong with 10%, man? I mean that's the point. It's not too good to be true. It actually works. So that's right. You're right. We know we're going to win that bet. So that's the bet, man. I mean, you don't do the test just because you think you're going to win the bet. Right.
And I've got a joke on the show today about a bet, what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Between a farmer and a wealthy businessman. Okay. But that's later in the show. So our big topic for today is these mega deals that have happened in the energy market with Exxon and Chevron. Some mega deals within the last month by both. So this article from Reuters says, headline, cash-rich Exxon and Chevron use stock for mega deals amid energy market jitters. So these are big deals. First one we talked about on our show actually recently. Exxon bought Pioneer.
Oh, they're the Permian Basin, the Permian Basin people. They were like the big dog in fracking and stuff, right? Pioneer was.
That's right. Big dog fracking, drilling, getting oil and petrochemicals out of the ground. And they bought them for $59.5 billion in stock. And then Chevron announced less than 2 weeks later, it would acquire Hess in a $53 billion all-stock deal. So
now here's the thing: is I can't believe Hess is only worth $53 billion.
What it looks like, all-stock deal. That's what it says to me.
I mean, it's just interesting to me because I know who Hess is, and maybe it's from working in the Caribbean at a former job in ocean shipping, because they had a huge facility in St. Croix, and maybe that's why I know Hess so well. But like a Hess truck, if you collect trucks and stuff like that, and you've been in trucking, that's a famous truck to get, right? Is a Hess truck.
Yeah. Yeah,
but I hazard a guess that none of those people know who the hell Pioneer was, unless you're talking about maybe somebody's old stereo from 1980.
Well,
you know what I mean? I just think it's interesting that Hess seems to me like it'd be like a $200 billion company or something, but I guess not. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of people at Hess that knew who Pioneer is.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. If you're in the industry, I'm just saying outside the industry, I guess Hess is just in a part that's more visible, right? Because they had Hess fueling stations and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that's true. Much more visible.
Yeah,
Hess is. And then it actually where there was other ones as well before that. So it says in the article, the moves followed similar smaller all stock deals in the last 3 years, including Exxon's $4.9 billion agreement to buy Denbury and Chevron's acquisition of PDC Energy and Noble Energy for $6.3 billion and $5 billion, respectively. Talking about billions with a B.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, which is, man, I mean, so what's your take on this, right? I see two different things going on here. They're betting on oil, right?
Yep.
One. But at the same time, I see it as a good strategic move to get kind of these smaller entities that are out there as well to maybe. Does it make it easier to be flexible in transitionary type of energy to greener fuels and stuff like that as well? Do you think that's part of the strategy instead of, because moving Chevron is tough, right?
Right.
But maybe moving a $5 billion, it isn't as hard. In other words, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things really. More footprint, right?
Yeah, right.
And
sure.
you get economies of scale when you merge companies.
Sure, do.
You get to use one marketing department, one accounting department, et cetera. There's usually, it just depends on how the deal's done. There's usually some transition that happens, but you basically are getting economies of scale when you do that. And I'm sure they're betting on that as well. And
I mean, the basics are certainly there, but I'm just wondering if there's beyond strategics to that are benefits that, they're looking at down the road type of things, right? Because you're either going to be disrupted or you're going to be a disruptor right now. And big oil is obviously not the enemy in that. In many instances that we can point to, they want to be involved in that transition, and we need them involved in that transition because we're not turning off the valve of fossil-based fuels tomorrow.
No, petrochemicals are used in everything. We've talked about this. Jackets, cell phones, car bumpers. I mean, just the petrochemicals industry, if it were to go away, would be, you talk about a disruption. It would be a total disruption of supply chains everywhere. So
no, it certainly would. It turned the earth into one big naked and afraid show.
Exactly. Yeah, but it also says to me they're betting on petrochemicals. They're betting on that being around for quite a while. When you're spending $60 billion, $70 billion, you're betting on it being around.
Right. Now, and I think that makes sense, and hopefully they are going to be around, and hopefully they are going to be around at stable prices, which has never happened since it became a commodity. But it'd be sweet. What I mean? I just drove up from Chattanooga to Cleveland, Ohio, and back over the last 4 days, right? And the range in fuel prices, just gasoline prices, across that region and across those 4 days was ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It was
saw it too.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm paying $4. No, wait a minute, I'm paying $3.20. No, wait a minute, I'm paying $2.95. And I'm like, what is going on? It's insane.
Absolutely. My wife and I went hiking in the Talamina bypass last weekend. And it's fall colors and hills and switchbacks, going up to the top. And on that trip, and back, the range of just gasoline is like $1 depending on where you stop. I mean,
absolutely. It's absolutely crazy. It's from $2.90 to like $4.10 is what I paid across the drive, and it wasn't the same in each. Like driving up and then driving back. You stop in these same places, right? Just in reverse order, pretty much. And it wasn't even like those were the same. Those changed by like 30 cents.
It changes on the daily. But the other thing about the fuel market is, as of about 4 years ago, the price of fuel is up about 80%. So just that's a good time to be in drilling and fracking and getting energy. It's a good time.
So there's a lot of discretionary income to make these investments too, right? So, I mean, the war chests are full. So now's the time to really make those bets that you've been wanting to lay, just haven't had the deep pockets to make that happen.
That's right.
A lot like we saw it in the maritime industry, right? Over the course of the past, 4 or 5 years.
Yep. So I've got a question for you.
Uh-oh.
All right. And I didn't prep you at all.
This is one of those rare ones that's not pre-rehearsed. So I actually am nervous.
I told him no prep. I'm going to ask you a question. What's your honest answer? So,
God.
Okay, we're talking about billions.
Do you really want to know? Do you really want my honest answer? We have met before, right? Are you sure you want that?
No, it'll be a good one. So,
all right,
we're talking billions of dollars.
Yep.
So I did a little research.
Oh no.
Okay. How much land would it take to stack 1 billion $1 bills end to end? How much space would you say?
Are they like side by side, like acreage coverage?
Yes. How many square miles do you think it is?
Holy mackerel. Am I allowed to try and use a calculator at least?
Nope.
I don't.
Yes.
Okay, so there's one. There's $1 billion. So like maybe 30 square miles. I'll take a stab at it.
Well, it is actually only 4 square miles.
Well, I mean, I over exaggerate. That's why I hate answering these questions, because I don't want to like way underestimate it. But 4 square miles is in a massive area, dude.
It is. And if you were trying to do that in a farmland in rural Oklahoma, by the time you stacked those on the ground with the wind average in Oklahoma, it would be 2 farms away already anyway. So.
Yeah. You'd never get it done. You'd have to, like, you ever been in those bars where people pin $1 to the wall and stuff like that?
Yes, so you'd have to pin them.
Yeah, there's one in Van Dyke Island in the Caribbean called the Soggy Dollar, because the only way to get to that bar is to swim there from your boat offshore, because you can't even get in because of the reef.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's called the Soggy Dollar because you have to swim in to get there. Or, I mean, you could kayak or something like that, but you know what I'm saying.
Have you ever seen the swimming pigs?
I've never been there, but my wife is like, that's like our next trip. They're in the Aleutian, no, not the Aleutians, in the
Bahamas. In the Bahamas,
but yeah.
And there's several actually islands where they do this, but
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see a pig swim. I'll be honest.
They're wild pig. They're wild pigs, right?
Yes. Well,
I mean, they're domestic pigs.
They're domesticated wild.
It's not razor. You're not swimming with a razorback.
No. They're domesticated pigs that have been brought to the Bahamas many years ago.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting sight. That was on my wife's bucket list, so we went and did that.
It's not my wife's bucket list, so I have to go do that. I have to go swim with pigs, which is cool. We had a couple of micro pigs that turned out to be regular sized pigs, actually. So we had to get rid of them real quick.
How big was the pig when it was fully grown, approximately?
When I had to get rid of them, they had reached like 35 pounds.
Right.
But well before 35 pounds, they're still destroying everything, because they're really just a huge muscle covered with really thick, I'd say leather, but it's pigskin, but it's like leather, and a little bit of hair. And they're really, really smart. They're very, very smart creatures. They're very smart.
Yeah.
I would argue as smart or if not smarter than a dog. And they'll do whatever they want, and you can't stop them because they're way too strong. Way too strong. And at that size, they can actually jump, which I learned because I was trying to keep them in a pen, and I said, "Oh yeah, 3-foot pen will keep them in there." No, no, not a chance.
Oh boy, that sounds like an adventure.
Oh, it was crazy, man. It was insane.
Oh my gosh! So speaking about farms, okay?
Yeah,
I've got a joke for you.
Okay,
are you ready?
Sure.
All right. So we're taking a little different turn. I'm doing a joke on the show today. So there's a wealthy businessman, and then there's a farmer.
All right.
And this wealthy businessman decided he really wanted to get one of those really fancy 5-foot wide kites with the straps on the sides and the long tails. So he goes out to this field in rural Oklahoma. He's flying it around. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But as kites often do, it started diving to the ground and he couldn't change the direction. So it crashed into the farmer's field.
Okay.
So he didn't see anybody around. So he opens the gate and walks onto the farm. And the farmer comes out and he says, "Is there something I can help you with?" And the rich businessman said, "Well, I went out and bought this really fancy kite. I wanted one. And, it's to the nines and I really wanted it for a long time." He goes, "Well, that's really nice. I kind of like that kite. I might want to have that." He said, "And really, technically, since you're trespassing and it's on my land, I could take it and we could go to small claims court or something. But," he said, "I actually have a farm rental surcharge." So you've heard of fuel surcharges, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I've got a farm rental surcharge and it's only $200. So you spent $500 on it? He said, "Yeah, I'll just charge you $200 and you can have it." He said, "Well, that doesn't seem really that fair." The farmer said, "Well, then, okay, I've got another option. It's a challenge. It's a rear end kicking contest." Okay. Said the way it works, we'll each take a turn kicking the other one in the rear end until somebody says uncle. And the guy, he said, "Okay." And he said, if you win, then you get to have your kite and go on your way. I said, "Okay, I'll take up the challenge. I'm going to do that. It's a bet." Okay. So he said, farmer says, "I go first." So he runs back and he's been used to kicking cow chips out of the way and he's got some pretty good strength. So he runs full speed, kicks the businessman in the rear end. Okay. So the businessman, "Oh God, that hurts so much. Oh, I didn't realize that was going to be so bad. This is awful. That's the worst." He goes, "I need to catch my breath. Oh, I got to catch my breath. I can't." He said, farmer said, "Take your time. It's okay. Take your time." So the businessman says, "Okay, now it's my turn." And the farmer says, "You can have your kite." That's the joke.
That's awesome. I love it.
You can have it.
You can have it. That's great, man.
Oh,
That
I
is
didn't say it
really
was going to be
good
a good joke.
It was good. Those are the kind of ones I enjoy. That was very good.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you know what? Speaking of farmers, a lot of them have done really well making deals with energy companies for usage of some of their land.
Sure.
And I'm happy for them. And because honestly, farmers have been through a lot over the years, and some of them have done really well.
If you haven't noticed, we need farmers.
Yeah, exactly. We do in a bad way.
Uh,
So we're thankful for our farming community. And so, right here in Oklahoma, if you go, 50 miles north of here or so and west, there's farms everywhere, which is nice, ranches and farms and so forth. But where I live, of course, there's not very many, but they're out there for sure. So
yeah. So, and I drove up to Cleveland, right? And if anybody's ever driven like across Ohio, all right. There's as soon as you get outside of Cincinnati, if you're going north, as soon as you get outside of Cincinnati, you hit the 275 loop, right outside, and then you hit Kings Island, and then it's farms, corn, soybean, that's it, and flat, and then you hit Columbus, and then after Columbus, it's corn, it's soybeans, and everything, and then it starts to get a little hilly, and then it's Cleveland. And that's how it rolls, right? So I'm rolling along, I'm driving up there, and it's just farms. It's Yoder's Cheese Barn and stuff like that. Tons of Amish. Ohio is covered up with Amish, and driving, and then all of a sudden there's these like cranes in the middle of nowhere, these huge cranes, and this massive structure is going up. 1,000 acres.
Really?
1,000 acres. It's Biden's new chip factory.
Really?
Yeah. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you're driving 2 hours in any direction to get to anything other than a couple of farmhouses.
Yep.
And it is massive. It is so big. It's unbelievable. I've driven past one place that was longer or maybe similar to that. It's south of Houston. It was I forget who was. It was a energy HVAC type of company, but there's that along that one highway. If you're coming in from the Waco area, from Dallas into Houston from Waco, you take that back kind of route. There's that warehouse there that's literally a mile and a half long. Right, it's literally you go 1.5 miles on a mile markers as you're driving past it. Right, it's really
wow,
huge. But yeah,
incredible.
This plant, and at one time that one in Houston was the largest DC in the Western Hemisphere. This thing might be bigger. It's freaking unbelievably huge.
Wow,
unbelievably huge. Some farmers made some cash on some property. Right there.
Well, many years ago, I have an industrial engineering degree. We were working with Kmart on some projects.
Yeah.
They had a 1 million square foot facility, warehouse, distribution center. And we would ride in a golf cart to get to where we're going because it takes a long time to get over there. So it was interesting. We would get in.
I imagine. Yeah. At Tropical, I was the liaison, but my main one that I managed was 500,000 square foot. It was a 500,000 square foot container freight station for shipping, stuffing and destuffing ocean containers. But we used the same thing because at that it was too big. But yeah, 1 million. Whew, that's huge.
Yep, that's some serious travel.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
No doubt. But it was fun. That one, our team ended up going into New York City. I went to the New York City Times Square for the first time ever when I was out on that project. We hopped on a train from Pennsylvania into New York and hung out there for a little bit, came back, worked, went back to work the next day. But
of course.
Yeah. You ever been to New York City yet?
I have. Yeah.
There's just so much to do there, isn't there?
It's fabulous. Yeah. No, me and a buddy, I won't mention his name because maybe he doesn't want me to, but we spent a day going between Little Italy, eating good and drinking good wine, and over to Canal Street and buying some timepieces. If you know what Canal Street is, there's a lot of people out there going, yeah, I know what he's talking about.
I went to a conference one time in New York City, and it was the most expensive hotel room per square foot for a just standard. It was a Hampton Inn. Really? And this Hampton Inn was like the size of 2 closets. I mean, it was like, what? But it was right there, in the middle of everything. So it was expensive per foot for sure. That was the most expensive Hampton I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, I went out to, one time I went to New York City and I'm walking and I ran into Donald Broughton from St. Louis, just walking down the street. I mean, how does that happen? How do you fly? I don't live in New York City. I don't know anybody who lives in New York City, but I travel there randomly for a show. I was doing an interview and stuff, and I run into somebody that I know from St. Louis on the street. Just, hey, what you doing, man?
Isn't that wild?
What? Very strange.
Yep, it's happened to me over the years. Traveling somewhere and you bump into somebody it's like, what in the world? What are the odds of that? Got to be pretty dang low, I would think. But
very, very low.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
Well, I guess, so we love our farmers. We're energy supporters. But we're not supporters of wasting. That's the thing. If you can,
it's not these materials. It's not the fuel. It's not the fossil fuel. It's not the plastics that is the issue. It's the irresponsible use of it. It is the extract, use, and throw away. That's the issue. It's that infrastructure. It's that logistics. It's that responsibility, and that's what we need to support and find solutions for. Right? Is that? I mean, that's where we're
right. At. Waste not, want not.
Amen.
Right.
Amen.
So we're doing some fun things in sustainability with savings and helping the planet at the same time. So it's a whole lot of fun. I guess that'll wrap it for this week. Thanks for listening or watching, everybody. And we will see you again on the next one. Take care.
You got it. Peace.